Cy Williams, High Canada Magazine. It is almost the end of the day at the Elevate Retail Cannabis Expo being held here in Mississauga, Ontario. Such a vibrant first day. I thought that I would take you on a quick walk around, and I want you to, with me, catch the very last panelist. I'm pretty excited about this one. My friend George Smitherman from the Cannabis Council of Canada is going to be speaking, and I think he's got some great, important information to share with all the people here. So let's do a live walk around, and we'll slip into one of the rows, and we can see what's going on. So hold on, I'm just going to turn you around. So there is a vibrant expo space. It's actually the end of the day, and it has been pretty darn cool. We were here earlier. We looked at the show guide. Okay.
What makes a customer never want it? And I hold it down and said these four things. The first one is customer service, right? At the point, John really helped me out, John remembers my birthday, blah, 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 good stuff. The next one is finance. You have products, you have variety, you have parking space, you need to find, right? There's a website you want to The next one is then pricing, before pricing out of the market, and you can't do anything about it, and then the quality of the product. So if you have these four things going on, that makes a customer never want to leave, right? You'll say, and I have customers that a customer would well, that goes into buying experience because you're not close to that customer. I'm not saying you will never ever make a customer leave, but the difference between a low and a world-class is that they really sort it at a world-class level. Now, putting it all together, you get this equation. Awareness times conversion plus loyalty is equal to dispensary sales. So if you get zero awareness and nobody knows you exist, but you're converting everyone, this equation goes to zero, but you still get some sales from loyalty. Vice versa, if you have 1 million people that know you exist, but you don't convert them into paying customers, then you will still get some people from loyalty, right? Which is why the loyalty piece is very, very important. Now, with it, you can really identify what you need to improve on, and to further assist in your sales goals, I've put together a few things for you, hence the bonus. Now, so if you really like this chat and you want me to go into more detail to give you context, I lined up a few of these things for you. Where I'm going to go in, look at your awareness, give you a little awareness audit to see where your current SEO standings are, to help implement those strategies to help rank higher, and then I'll also go through a conversion audit, so we can go through the 11 things guarantees you can increase your conversions on your site, and to also apply.
Keep in mind, we're at the end of the first day.
Right over there. You would also get a 1-year free SEO-enabled e-commerce menu for your website.
Kind of a behind-the-scenes peek.
Building your own mobile app, also courtesy from the screen. So if you want any of these things, all you need to do is scan this barcode right here. And the reason why I'm giving this out here is because this information without context really means nothing to me. Right? If I say you guys should go work out, get a good sleep, have a good social circle, do all these things, like, yeah, right? That really makes sense.
Okay, I'm going to show you behind the scenes. So Friday is the big expo day, and Friday is the day that these... I saw the cat. I think I saw the cat. So yeah, this will be opening up to everybody else. You guys should work out, eat, sleep, and do all the healthy things. Or I can say you guys should eat, sleep, work out because your blood pressure is going to go up, and you're going to have health complications. Right? So what is the thing that's going to be most effective? It's going to be the context that I can give you based on the different things that I've showed you right here. And on the call, you can take all the information and go run away if you would like. But that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. And yeah. Time for me to get back though.
Amazing. Strain Up definitely knows what they're doing when it comes to SEO. I use SEO for everything in my business, every article, every page. And what I love is that Strain has the booth right over there. So if you have any more questions, you can go straight to them and ask them for, you know, how can you use SEO for your retailer, your LP, your store, your brand, whatever you're using it for. But it's clear that it's a no-brainer. It's needed. So SEO, go check out Manny, go check out Brandon at their Strain app. But next we have our last panel and giving out our Zenko right after. So stay in your seats. There's tons of dinner. Girl dinner is available. Okay, so we have munchies available to our left. And we are getting ready for our last panel of the day. Thank you guys so much for joining with us today. So before I get these panelists to get on the stage, let's give them a big round of applause, guys. Woo! Last panel of the day.
Stand by.
Hello.
Oh, it's gonna be like that, eh?
Hello? Should we give everybody a couple minutes to come back, or?
Give us a couple minutes to come back. In the meantime, 1 second.
All right, guys, sticking around, paying attention. I'm talking to many of you in the room, and while it's been a really great informative session earlier in the day with all of the speakers, I really want to drive home the point that this is such a critical conversation we're going to be having with our panelists. And I really, really hope that at the end of it, there is going to be a bit of a spark, a light on just feeling a bit of enthusiasm and getting a sense that, you know, there is more that we can do, more than what we are doing. And I hope that you'll begin to see that. So without any further ado, I want to introduce Sean Webster. Sean, as many of you don't know, recently ran as the PC candidate for Canada Carleton and spent also a number of years as a VP of Strategic Partnerships and Government Affairs with Canopy. And Sean has tremendous experience with folks in the government access, lobbying, strategy, and he's really spending a bit of time with us and sharing some of his approaches on sort of how do we get to the next stage in terms of getting our issues out in front of the government. And of course, George Smitherman, many of you already know, illustrious career in politics. But recently, George has been part of Cannabis Council of Canada. He's the president and CEO, and has been spending, I would say, the better part of the last decade in the cannabis industry in some capacity, in advocacy, as well as just championing the particular industry that we're all in. Please, a round of applause to the gentleman that has spent some time with us today in this session. Amazing. So, what I'd like to do is this is a bit of a unique panel discussion, but I want to kind of hand over to Sean to talk a little bit about his experience and talk a little bit about the lens of the cannabis industry that he sees, and how do we set up an appropriate approach to lobbying if we can come to an agreement on certain aspects of agreeing on issues that our retailer and LP communities face. Sean?
Super, thank you, Sandy. I'd actually sent a presentation in to the organizers. I don't know whether you can put that up for me or not. So thanks very much, Sandy. We're just waiting for that to come up. As Sandy mentioned, I've been in the cannabis sector now. I took a little break this year, but I was in the cannabis sector with Canopy Growth Corporation as Vice President of Government and Stakeholder Relations for the past 5 years, starting with pre-legalization and midway through, and like so many of my colleagues, was restructured. And so, anyway, here I am. I spent the past 3 and a bit months as the Progressive Conservative Party candidate for the by-election that was just held in Canada-Carleton, and unfortunately I came up 651 votes short. But it gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of really interesting people and do some interesting things. I knocked on over 7,000 doors and heard a lot from people, but I'll tell you one thing that I didn't hear from anybody whose doors I knocked on. I was concerned about the cannabis sector. And I'm concerned about the cannabis sector because I know the cannabis sector and the cannabis sector that I've been engaged with is facing some challenges right now, not just the retailers, but the LPs, everybody in the sector. Times are tough, they're tight. Things haven't gone off as well as we had expected them to. So I think that speaks to the fact that the sector, I think collectively, not just LPs, but LPs and retail, really need to work hard together on messaging with government, not just the federal government or the provincial governments, but municipal governments right across the country as well. Why is government relations important? Well, I put it up there. I won't go through them all. It's pretty obvious to me as a guy who's been engaged in the GR and the lobbying space for the past, actually, it's been almost 35 years. About 35 years that I've been doing this, not to age myself. But you know, it's important that that this sector engage. Why? We need to do a better job of enabling policy that is going to be favorable for our industry. We need to make sure that we formulate regulations that are supportive of our industry, that don't cause more hurdles. We need to develop partnerships with government. Government can't just, we shouldn't be just looking at ourselves as a service provider or a vendor. We should be building those partnerships, and we should be looking to become very reliable and a reliable partner so that we can really be thought leaders in the sector and the country. In terms of where I think the sector's at right now, and George, you might disagree with me, but I don't think you will. I think where we are right now is this upper quadrant here. We're in the defensive mode. The sector kind of reacts to things when they happen. They don't, just because of the disparate nature of the different businesses in the sector, don't always come together. I think a lot of people probably think we're down here in this more reactive space, where we do react to new regulations and new legislation when it comes out. Where we should be heading is being more anticipatory of what's happening with government, knowing where they're thinking, what they're looking to do, and being in a better position to react to it and to get out in front of it so we're reacting before it happens. And ultimately, that's where we want to be, is being proactive and making sure that we're forging those policies that government really, that we think the governments across the country really should be focusing on. Now, in terms of kind of how we get there and how we do it, I mean, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So building strong relations with government is about working at it and going to government with consistent messaging right through, advancing concepts and ideas that are solutions to issues that governments have and not waiting for them to come up with a solution for you. We need to make sure that there's alignment across the sector because there's nothing governments like more than having stakeholders come with different issues and different complaints. They want to see, if we want to be effective, we have to be an effective, unified voice. We need to, as I said earlier, build partnerships and not just be another stakeholder. We need to give credit to government where credit is due. When government does something that helps us, make sure that we recognize it. I always like to tell people it's a lot easier to make friends with honey than it is with vinegar. And a lot of times I think governments across the country think the sector only gives vinegar. And it's always important to go to government, as I noted earlier, with solutions, not just problems. So that's just a few of my thoughts. It's also important, one thing I should add, to work both sides of the aisle. Just don't focus on who's in government. Look at who's in opposition as well. And make sure you're briefing the opposition with the same message points that you're briefing the government. And make sure you always also build relations, not just with the political officials, the elected officials, but also with the bureaucrats who are going to be there for a long time. So anyway, thanks for that. You take the presentation down now, and I'll turn it over to Jordan.
Thank you, Sean. You bring out some really key points that I really want to reiterate, which are critical for what George is going to talk about. And I think if many of you here were in the press, that were here in the morning when Kate was speaking, I think the key piece that we need to reiterate is advocacy. And that's advocacy for our own industry by ourselves. Because no one's going to come and save us. We need to do that saving ourselves. And I think if we can really band together and be the critical advocates for ourselves and be proactive about it, I think there's a shorter road to being together than it is to travel that road alone. And of course, over the next 2 years, 3 years, we want our industry to thrive, where we're all profitable and everybody in this room is still here. And so there was some conversation, if many of you are part of the retailer chat group, that was quite spirited, that was quite passionate. And out of some of those discussions came an opportunity where we were able to work with George, and George has been so amazing with giving of his time and ideas and approaches. And we spent several working sessions / meals together, figuring out what that strategy could look like. What are the common alignments that Sean was mentioning as we approach government officials? And of course, are there some things that the LPs are facing that retailers are commonly also facing? Excise tax being something that George has been working quite a bit on. Some of the other discussions we talked about were payment terms, which could be transformational for many of our businesses to allow better cash flow. Of course, all the advertising restrictions and compliance that we have to face. Of course, the average price margins that Owen has been really passionately trying to get noticed and having a lot of success. So, George, thank you for all that time and really appreciate your expertise. I want to hand it over to you a little bit to talk about, from your lens, what are some of the opportunities that you see where, as an organization, a retailer organization, if we were to join C3, what are some of the best ways in which we can leverage C3 to be our advocate, to be one of those people that leads the charge on our behalf?
Hey, well, I just want to say a shout out to the staff here at Mirage, because it is no mirage. The people that have chosen the food have been delighted by the food. And I can't wait to get at the food, which is good for all of you because it makes it less likely that I'll blather on unnecessarily long. Here's the thing. Think of it like this. We're sending out an invitation for a broader array of participants from the regulated sector to join together in what I like to describe as Project Lobby Lobos Bosses. Because the thing about it is, the province of Ontario, Queen's Park, a place where I had the privilege of spending 10 years as an elected member and other time working as an assistant to politicians, is actually the controlling arm of the OCS, that on a daily basis, whether you're a licensed producer or whether you're a retailer, is having a very, very demonstrable impact on your way of life. And I dare say there's probably some points of consensus that we might find about improvements to the current operational model that would cause us to seek to join together and try and affect that change. How do we do that? Lobbying and advocacy. Who knows who their member of provincial parliament is? Yeah, wah wah. Like, who is it, sir? Shout it out. Oh, okay. I know that guy. Here's the the thing about it is, we are and I don't mean to admonish any of you because it's a problem for all of us and a missed opportunity. Because our cannabis, regulated cannabis environment is found in every riding across the country. Fisheries isn't, forestry isn't, and there's lots and lots of other powerful industries that just actually don't have our clout if we choose or chose to exercise it. Owen is an example of somebody who exercised it, and he had his Member of Parliament, Mike Morris, in for a visit, and his MPP, Mike Harris Jr., too. And if we replicate that kind of action across the breadth of the regulated environment, we will be a much more powerful industry than we are now at being able to affect some of the change, which we can all see would be very beneficial to us not just surviving, but maybe having a chance to thrive. I've been at the helm of C3 since the beginning of COVID. It wasn't my fault, it's just a coincidence. And since that time, I've struggled to find the right way to create the engagement in Ontario where license holders, licensed producers who are mainly on my membership, and retailers could find alignment and go and do the work that a regulated industry needs to do together, which is create a common set of objectives to the people that regulate us. That's a combination of bureaucrats and politicians, and they're all at Queen's Park. And what we're really working to do with C3, and Owen wrote the check today to become an affiliate member of C3, that's $1,000 a year for an independent retailer, is to create more of that dynamic lobbying capacity where we can hire the hired guns like Sean, and especially Sean, to actually go and get the meetings and open the doors for us that we all have the passion to take the message to, but maybe not the wherewithal particularly to organize all of the setup. That's the step up that we're proposing. It's the asset-light approach to lobbying. And it's asset-light because it asks a bunch of us to throw a small amount into the pot and to have the advantage that we do not have right now of somebody that's actually helping to make us a more prominent voice in the environment called Queen's Park, where our destiny is significantly shaped. So C3 is moving in that direction to create an Ontario lobby caucus that is a blend of participants where we seek to find common ground and maybe decide to agree to disagree on the odd thing that might come up and prove too divisive, but nevertheless to fulfill that important objective that we don't fulfill now, which is to present to governmental people a consistent and unified point of view. Because I'll tell you this, I spent my life in politics. And I'll tell you the first art of politics is diversion. And that's when I'm listening to you and you're telling me your story right up until I find the moment to send you somewhere else. And we've got a lot of work to do to get us past the point where this is where we're treated and to get the attention that is warranted for an industry that came to life under the conditions of COVID and was such a significant economic contributor and is still so well poised to do so. So that's what we're working to try and generate. I went on longer than I should have. There's still food in the buckets. I can see it from here. And we're just going to be putting out the welcome mat and trying to create opportunities for the conversation. For instance, on the afternoon of Friday, the 22nd in downtown, we're going to have kind of a clash, bring more people together, talk through what those common issues are, and dive back into some of the enforcement stuff that we were already working on in downtown Toronto, etc. So looking forward to more engagement with all of you. All politics is local. They work for you. They work within a boundary. They're very attentive to what happens within that boundary. Let's go get them.
Thank you, George. That was amazing. I can't can't stress enough though, guys, advocacy is key. If we really want to move the needle forward in this industry, we can't just talk about how to upsell. We can't just talk about financial stuff. We can't just talk about, how do we educate budtenders. Those are all very important things, but advocacy is key. Otherwise, we will not see the change we are dying to see. So if you guys want to join C3, you want to move some of these issues forward, you want to see real change, please approach me, approach Jazz, talk to George, get on the C3 website. Owen signed up today, he already sees the value. I'm certain when you guys have a moment to think about it, you will also see the value. But we need to be our own strongest advocates. Owen's got a couple words to say. Please, Owen.
Oh, that's impressive.
Hey guys, Owen Allerton, Highland Cannabis. For everyone in the room, all my friends, Tyler, talk to me, Tyler. Tyler. Oh, Travis. Talk to me too. Everybody there, guys, this is probably the most important session today. When you sell a $100 ounce, half of it is because of excise. And no one cares about any of you. No one. We all talk about this is wrong, that's wrong, and this should be this way, and this should be that way, this shouldn't be happening this way. No one cares. Because no one even knows about our problems. We're not even on the radar. These are the only guys that we've got that know how to navigate Queen's Park and Ottawa. And I have no vested interest in anything they're doing other than I want there to be LPs making products. I don't want all the LPs to go out of business. I need there to be LPs so that I can have stuff on the shelves. So I wrote a check today. Apparently I'm the first independent cannabis retailer to ever do that. I'm shocked by that. But we need to stop complaining and start doing something about it. And I was actually surprised how cheap it was. So, go get him, George. I've never met you, Sean, but go get him. We need to fix so many things, and we're just a collection of potheads if we don't get our shit together and get these guys ready for us. That's it. Go sign up.
Thank you, Owen. Yes, go sign up, make a difference, be the change, be the advocate, and watch your business thrive. Let's change this cannabis industry to benefit us, guys. And these gentlemen, they're poised to help us do that. But everybody's got to eat, including us. And so if we don't make these types of investments, we're not going to see any change. So please, be our biggest own advocates. Thank you for coming. I'm going to hand it over to Antoinette. I think there is another raffle, and I know everybody's probably dying to get some snacks. But please, seriously think about this session. It is the single most session that's going to help transform and be a catalyst for being able to help us stay alive and thrive. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks for joining me. I'll check in tomorrow with another live where I believe it's all day butt tender training. Okay, take care.